I think some of you guys have actually heard my voice, but you don't know my face. I sang the song Never Enough on The Greatest Showman.
Oh my God!
I think we did our job well because people could not tell that she was lip syncing. The Greatest Showman had come out. I was still working as a bartender. I just got this call and it was David Foster and Michael Bublé. I heard Never Enough come sing this duet with me on my album. I had auditioned for American Idol. I remember Simon rejecting me.
At the time, he was still trashing people.
He said you could be like a cruise ship singer, but that's it.
Wow.
Something like that.
Welcome to another episode of Songs You Know, and I have a beautiful guest today, and you probably know the song, and you must know the name and the face too, Loren Allred.
Hi everyone!
Woo!
I'm so excited to be here, Toby. I'm such a huge fan of yours.
Oh, thank you.
And we worked together so long ago, so it's so exciting to be back here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Everyone
so
who doesn't know who Loren Allred is, you know the song Never Enough? Yes. And a whole lot of other songs that you probably know where you don't even know that it's her beautiful voice. So I think it's time to have you here.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
So tell me about you. How did you grow up? A little bit about your childhood. How did you get started with music?
Yeah. Well, I was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and my parents are classical musicians. My mom is an operatic soprano and voice teacher, and my dad is a choral conductor and composer.
That's like the perfect setup for a singer.
Yes, absolutely. So I, even when my mom was pregnant with me, she was singing in concerts with my dad, conducting, and just music was always around the house and always going to my parents' concerts, and they made an effort to teach me and my younger sisters how to sing and put us in piano lessons and band and things like that. That's
beautiful. Did you make music with your mom and your dad as well?
We've never written anything together.
Never.
No. It's funny because I feel like when you grow up with your parents doing something, sometimes you want to do your own thing.
Yeah.
So maybe that was the case with me, but I was always inspired and learned so much from my parents.
Did she try to coach you, and were you like rebellious? No, Mom, don't tell me what to do.
I think there was an age, where I was getting more and more interested in singing, and I think even my mom just thought it would be better for me to get a different vocal coach. Also because I was starting to belt more, and that's not really what she does or what she teaches. So it was kind of good to have that separation.
So that's really interesting. I mean, usually in the podcast at a later point we go into this, but since you bring it up, can you tell us the difference between the classical way of, as a singer, what you need to learn, how you do loud notes, and as a pop singer, how you do loud notes?
Wow. Well, I'm not that experienced in the operatic technique, but I think with belting, both techniques, you need to have a lot of diaphragmatic support, but I think the placement is totally different. I think when you're belting, having the placement here and kind of focusing on keeping it in a little bit more of a nasal placement versus in your throat is healthy.
Can you demonstrate?
Yeah. Just like keeping it up here instead of in the throat.
And the other one's from the tummy, right?
Well, both are, using your diaphragm, but I think when you're singing in an operatic way, I've heard my mom kind of explain that you should envision kind of like a lifting from here, and I think your palate, just keeping it kind of dropped is important, but I'm not an expert in that.
And now show me the opposite, like what you're doing.
I don't know if
Is your mom telling you it's wrong what you're doing?
Well, there was a phase where my parents were worried because they said, if you're going down this avenue of belting, it's not healthy. And I know that. I think that nothing is as healthy as operatic singing for the voice, and you do have a shorter career if you're belting. But
is that true? I mean, can you, like for instance, Donna Summer, I worked with her when she was old on her last album, and she still had this incredible belting voice, and she's done this all her life.
Yeah.
And I was wondering also, at an older age, that voice was still perfect.
Right. It might be a misconception. I hope that that's the case for me. But that's, I think what the classical crowd thinks. So maybe we can collectively prove them wrong.
So when you do a tour and you belt every evening, what do you do? What are your secrets to not lose your voice ever, because you can't afford to?
I think what I've realized the most important thing is getting enough sleep. If I have any less than 8 hours of sleep or interrupted sleep, I feel it the next day in my voice. I like to keep a humidifier in my room if I can.
Do you travel with a humidifier?
I do.
Wow.
Yeah. But also I feel like eating late is not good, and spicy foods.
Which you do in a tour, right? So you don't want to eat before singing, and you should not eat after singing. When do you eat?
Well, I do think it's important to eat before you sing. It's just a matter of avoiding certain ingredients. Definitely avoid dairy, because that can make you phlegmy. Spicy things can give you acid reflux. And those are the things I also like to avoid. When I've toured with Andrea Bocelli, I noticed that his kind of pre-performance safe meal, I think, is just white rice.
So let's talk about your tour with Andrea Bocelli.
Okay.
What was your typical morning? So what time do you wake up?
I mean, it really depends. It depends kind of when you're getting in and out, because we were on a tour bus. So sometimes you'll be on the bus.
You slept on a tour bus?
Yes. I actually like sleeping on a tour bus. What I don't like is having to be woken up to check into the hotel. I wish they would just leave us on that bus. Did you have to share
this bus with 20 other people?
Yeah, of course.
Wow.
Yeah, everyone.
Even Andre?
No, I think he was in a plane. If I'm honest. But he's the one that's doing the heavy lifting in the show. So,
true.
But I will try to sleep as long as possible. So I'll get to the hotel room and just sleep until, I don't know, a few hours before I have to go. And then I'll have some tea and do like a safe meal.
What, for Baldrian or something, so you sleep better?
No, I think that's a little bit risky. I don't have that much trouble just knocking out. So.
Really? How do you empty out your thoughts? Like for me, 3 a.m, my brain springs to action and I need to create. And
yeah, I don't know. I just fall asleep.
Wow, that's a real gift.
I'm glad. I mean, it may change, but right now I don't have that much of an issue.
In Germany, we say Murmeltier. It's like a little animal that wraps up in winter, and I don't know the English word for it, but...
wraps up in the winter, like a squirrel?
Geschlafen wie ein Murmeltier, like you sleep like a... I don't know what the word is.
I don't know that animal. I know a little German, but I don't know the name of that
How do you know German?
I learned it in school.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. Where did you go to school? In Pittsburgh, right?
In Pittsburgh. Yeah, I went to school in Pittsburgh, and then I moved when I was 14 to Salt Lake City, Utah, and they didn't teach German. My school in Utah,
City. So I wanted to ask you as well, because I just had a meeting with David Archuleta.
Yes.
And so you had this very warm welcome. And why was that?
I love David. I feel like, because we were kind of internet friends of each other's for a while, but we were introduced in real life maybe a year ago, because I saw on the Jennifer Hudson show that he came out and also left the Mormon church, which I was raised in. And so,
which takes so much courage. Like he had to go against his mother, his whole family, anyone he's grown up with, and they weren't supportive at all. Right.
I think growing up in the same religion, I was able to see how incredibly brave that was, especially because the church saw him as like the poster child of, he was representing the church, and for him to
He was a missionary, he told me. Like for 2 years, he was going around the world telling people they should become Mormons.
Right. It's a full-on commitment. That's actually required of every young man in the church. But so, we were both raised Mormon. And
were you also a missionary?
No, it's not actually required of women.
So what's it like to grow up with Mormon upbringing, or you went there and for school? How old were you when you went to Salt Lake City?
14.
14.
Yeah.
So what was the influence from the Mormon upbringing?
Well, it was interesting because, and I'm no longer Mormon, but in Pittsburgh, there were not a lot of Mormons. So we went to church very frequently. But it wasn't like a super strong culture there. I feel like still within that church, people were able to maintain their individuality. But if you are in Utah, I feel like it's the culture of the state. So, you know, most everybody is Mormon. And so that was a culture shock for me, even though I was raised Mormon. And so,
and as far as music goes, how has the Mormon upbringing influenced your musicianship?
I think music is a huge part of the Mormon religion. You know, when you're a little kid, even 3 years old, in your Sunday school children's hour or whatnot, they are teaching you how to sing. And
that's a good thing. That's great.
Yeah, it's a great thing. And then performing in church on Sunday is something that my family always did. I think, especially in Utah, dance is a huge thing too. So I think Julianne Hough is a great dancer with her brother. It's just like a culture of the arts.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I recognize that too when The Greatest Showman came out, just how much Utah loved that. I think they love musical theater.
At the time, were you still with the church?
No. I pretty much left right around 18, 19.
So what's it like if you decide to leave? Do you also break off the contact with your other Mormon friends, or?
Oh, no.
No, you continue.
No, I just think what happens when you leave the church, I mean, everybody's different, but I think it can change your relationship with your friends and your family, and you just have less in common with them. I think that my family's been very understanding of what I've chosen to do. I have other friends that have been disowned from their families, but my family...
With David, I heard that must have been hard.
I mean, I just watched an interview with his mom, and I was so touched that initially she was very against that, but then she came around and actually left the church herself. So that is, I think, such a beautiful thing, because they can maintain a very authentic relationship.
So important, yeah.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Greatest Showman. Do you want to tell me the whole story of your involvement?
Yeah, sure. Yes. So, well, to rewind back a little bit, you and I met when I was signed to a record label, and we had some writing sessions.
Yes.
That journey actually came to an end, and I ended up taking a step back from the music industry and decided that I might want to sing more behind the scenes. So that's when I started doing demo work for songwriters. And the songwriters, Pasek and Paul, asked me to do some demos for a movie they were working on.
Geniuses, those two.
They are geniuses.
Can you tell us a little about them?
A friend recommended me for a session because they were looking for a demo singer. And I had known of them in New York because they would do concerts once in a while of songs that they had written. And so I went to that session and got to meet them in person. And they're so brilliant, but so normal and so fun. And I just love them. They're my close friends. And so that session went well, and they just kind of kept asking me back. And I ended up doing some demos for the movie Dear Evan Hansen.
Yeah.
Well, actually the musical at the time that evolved into a movie. But yeah, then we just continued on, and it turned into The Greatest Showman. So
wow.
They're great guys and so talented and so versatile.
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah.
And so you sang this song, okay, and then the movie came out and the song was all over the world. And that was you already performing the song?
Well, it kind of evolved. It was a process that evolved, because I initially sang the demo for Rewrite the Stars, and then Tightrope and A Million Dreams, and then sang in the ensemble. And then the very last... So
Zendaya took over a few of those, right?
Yeah. Well, Zendaya and Michelle Williams.
Right.
But Never Enough, I think, was the last song that they wrote. And they had me come into the studio, and they just kind of plunked out the melody that they were thinking of. And they said, "Can you belt this melody?"
Is it beltable? Is this even in the stratosphere, or is this humanly possible?
Yeah. Well, when they first did it, I said, well, that will be difficult, but I can. And then they're like, okay, well, we're going to repeat this over and over and over. And I remember thinking, okay, I can record this, but who's going to, can Rebecca do this? I don't know. This is like the hardest song ever. Yeah. And so, yeah, I guess things evolved into Rebecca Ferguson and the director and the songwriters deciding that they should just keep my vocal. But it wasn't quite right because I wasn't singing it as her in the demo. So I got to meet her. She's so lovely. And I'm so grateful that she was open to this process happening.
And it was openly accepted. It wasn't like you're pretending to be her. It was like, she's the acting part and just you're lending your voice to her, but it's not a secret, right?
No, I don't think it was a secret. I got to meet her and get used to her accent because she's Swedish, but I think she also spent some time in London or, England. And so getting used to her accent, we went through all the lyrics and I recorded her speaking them so I could kind of emulate that. And then she wanted to watch videos of me performing the song so she could look at my mannerisms as a singer.
It's a whole process.
Yeah. And so we just kind of glued that together and that's what you see today.
And then how long from when the movie came out until you took ownership of the song?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think we did our job well because I thought people could not tell that she was lip syncing as far as I know. I think singers could tell.
It's great for the movie, but not so great for you.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I was at a time in my life where I wanted to make a living singing, but had no interest in being in the public.
Still not.
Yeah, still not. So I thought this was a perfect,
interesting
situation because
so you're totally fine with it.
Yeah, like I loved it.
Wow.
Yes, I thought this is perfect. But it wasn't until I started getting booked for some private events, people that had done some digging and realized that I had sung the song, where I would get off stage and people would say, "Oh, you sound just like the movie. Great job." And so I think it tapped into something inside me when I was growing up as a little girl wanting to be a singer that I thought, I think I need to go take a hold of this, or
and
it's
such a spectacular vocal on top of that too, not just any vocal.
Thank you. So it took some time, but that's when I decided to go on Britain's Got Talent, and put myself out there, and it was the best
We
decision.
just watched this today. It's like,
you did?
Everyone just wants to hug you when you're on stage saying, you might know my song and my voice, but not my face. Aww.
Yeah.
Such a sweet audition.
It was scary, though, because I had auditioned for American Idol when I was 18 and got rejected.
And at what stage?
It was in front of the judges, the celebrity judges.
And did you feel that they were doing you injustice, or at the time?
I mean, I thought I had a great audition, but I don't know if it's because I wasn't really open with my story or I was kind of private. But yeah, I remember Simon just really rejecting me in such a way that I felt very discouraged. So I was scared to see him again.
Was he like, at the time he was still trashing people?
I know. I'm glad he's had some kind of transformation.
He's mellowed.
Yes, because he said, I didn't like the song. I think it's a no. And I think that maybe you could be like a cruise ship singer, but that's it.
Wow.
Something like that. So an 18-year-old girl. Like, oh, whoa.
That's so Simon.
Yeah. So I was kind of crushed by that. But I had seen other people audition for these shows singing Never Enough. And he would say, this is my favorite song, or like, this is the best song.
After Showman, yeah.
Yeah. So I think the producers of Britain's Got Talent reached out to me and said, Simon loves this song. Would you be willing to come on and audition with it? Because we just think it would be such a great moment. And I initially said no, because I was too scared. That's actually really
great from them to do that, because they must have also seen what it could mean to your career.
Right. I think that they knew that the people in the UK did not realize I sang that song, but they all knew the song. So I had to kind of get over that fear of putting myself out there, and I decided to do it. And it was such a wonderful moment.
Yeah, we just watched it back, and
Oh.
it felt like when the louder the notes got, the more you gained your confidence, and then in the end you had like full-on star.
Yes. I mean, I was stuttering when I walked out there.
Right,
This was
yeah,
like my
I saw
biggest fear is, reality shows like
Yeah,
that.
and then the audience
And
was cheering
Simon.
more and more as you sang, and
It was
I think that
crazy.
probably lifted you up.
Yeah, and then I got the golden buzzer, which I
Yes.
hadn't expected. And it was in a foreign country. So, yeah, that was a lot, but it was the best thing I ever did.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Did you then work with Simon a bit, or?
Well, I ended up doing America's Got Talent, kind of like the All-Stars.
In America?
Yes.
How was that?
It was wonderful. I think that doing that really broke my name through the kind of glass ceiling in the US.
Great.
For sure.
Great.
And that was a great decision too. I haven't worked with him kind of one-on-one outside of the show, but I think he would be willing to do that. He's just been he's just been rooting for me since that moment in
Great.
London.
Yeah, and I have a lot of respect for Simon.
Yeah, he gives
come a long way.
great advice.
Yeah.
And he also chose for my semifinal for America's Got Talent the song Over the Rainbow, which is such, that's a very
have to watch
special
that.
song.
Yeah.
And that intimidated me because I didn't want to ruin it. I think there's some
You could not ruin
songs. There are some songs that, if you want to do them, you need to be very careful between making it your own, but not making it all about you.
Was that Rodgers and Hammerstein, or who wrote it?
I don't know, actually.
Because we do the song guessing thing in the podcast, and that's
Yeah.
the song I play often, and that's the only song that you can recognize with 2 notes.
Oh, wow, because of that interval.
Yeah.
I heard that this melody was actually taken from a classical song.
Wow.
Far before, The Wizard of Oz or anything like that. It's really interesting if you look into it. But I ended up working with the music team there, and we made an arrangement that I'm so, so proud of. Like, just as proud of this version of Over the Rainbow as I am of Never Enough, because it allows my voice to really open up. And it takes little elements of the best versions of Over the Rainbow and kind of puts them into one. So,
Yeah. How many octaves
yeah.
do you sing?
I'm not actually sure. I
We
think
can test on the piano.
okay. I know that
What's your lowest?
it's usually a
La.
B2, or I think.
Wow, that's low.
B flat.
And then the highest?
I know that I can belt around an A. Let me see. I don't know, maybe 3. I used to be able to do whistle tone.
Yeah,
but
Mariah
I have
whistles.
not practiced that. I did it in a high school talent show, actually.
Uh-huh. That's
But
then the
I don't
fourth
think I
octave.
can do that anymore. Something like that. I need to map it out.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. We truly appreciate it. I'm excited to announce that we are launching a Patreon. This will be a place where you can find out about our upcoming guests, where you can get exclusive access to BTS footage, like for instance a walk through Greg Wells' studio. You can even submit your own questions that we're going to ask in the podcast. That's going to be so much fun. By joining this community, you can help tell the stories behind some of the biggest songs in music history. Thank you for your support. It really does mean everything, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the episode. Hope to see you there. Do you have some favorite performance memories? Some shows that were absolutely memorable?
Absolutely. Let's see. Because I don't know if other performers are like this, but sometimes your focus and your perfectionism can keep you from enjoying the moment.
Yeah.
But there are a couple moments that I just remember soaking it in and feeling like this is absolutely magical. And one of those was David Foster's PBS special at the Orpheus?
Probably Orpheum, I guess.
Orpheum. And I just remember holding out the last high note of Never Enough and looking up and just taking it all in and feeling like, wow, this is happening. This is really
and it's
happening.
your voice singing it. And
It's
then
crazy.
resonating everywhere.
Yes.
And people are holding their breath. And
Yes. And
the
just
climax,
knowing
so-
David Foster
David's amazing.
is
yeah.
accompanying me here and featuring me, that's what I grew up thinking that my dream would be, to sing for David Foster. Like, just one song as long as he can hear me. And now I tour with him regularly.
Check.
So it's crazy. And then another memory would be singing at Madison Square Garden with Andrea Bocelli. I just remembered looking out, and I live in New York, so that's so special for me. And then just recently, I think a couple weeks ago, I got to sing at Carnegie Hall. I sang this original song for this video game, Final Fantasy VII. Do you know Nobuo Uematsu, the composer?
Unfortunately, I should.
Oh, he's, the video game composer. And so I was able to sing that song for a whole room of these video game fans, and they were just so excited. So that's my other recent surreal moment.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So what happened when Michael Bublé called you?
Oh my gosh. So this was not long after The Greatest Showman had come out. And even though the movie was out, I was still working as a bartender in Brooklyn and singing in a wedding
bartender.
band.
You as a bartender.
Yes, yeah.
You know how to make drinks.
Yes, I do. I was a barista for a long time too. I actually miss doing latte art.
Really?
I do.
Can you make those swirls and flowers in the cappuccino?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
So I was just, working a lot. I was just trying to make ends meet. It was a difficult time, even though the movie had come out. It takes a while to get any sort of a paycheck. But I remember just sitting in my room. My heat wasn't working, and it was just very bare bones time. And then I just got this call, and it was David Foster and Michael Bublé. And Michael said,
both of them on the phone.
Both of them.
What are the odds?
I know. Yeah.
You probably hung up and said, guys, stop pranking.
There have been multiple moments where I think someone's pranking me, and it's actually real.
David Foster also once out of the blue called me and said, what are you doing this weekend? And I was like, this is not David Foster. It was him. Wow. And he invited my family and me over to spend a Saturday with him, which was incredible.
Gosh, yeah.
So I believe you that this happened to you.
Yes. I think he likes putting people on their toes.
Yeah.
It's so funny. So they called me, and Michael said, I watched The Greatest Showman, and I heard Never Enough, and I had a feeling that wasn't her singing. So I did some digging and realized it was you. And I would love if you could come sing this duet with me on my album. But we're recording it tomorrow. So can you just hop on a plane? And David was there, and he was just like, yeah, I heard the song, and we think that you would be the right fit for this duet.
Beautiful.
So I said, absolutely.
What was the song called?
It was a cover of Help Me Make It Through the Night. Chris Christopherson, Willie Nelson. And it's kind of like this beautiful version with Spanish guitar, and they changed the lyrics slightly to make it a duet. And so,
are you going to sing some things for us? Can you sing a little bit of it?
I don't know if you can tell I'm a little bit stuffy, but of course I can sing a little bit.
Disclaimer.
Let's see. Take the ribbon from my hair, shake it loose and let it fall. Lay it soft against your skin, like the shadow on the wall. Is that okay?
I love your low voice.
Thank you.
It's a bit of a Nora Jones in there. I love that.
I mean, I feel much more comfortable in my lower range.
That's beautiful.
I think I'm, I sang alto too in choir, and sometimes tenor. And so it's so funny when people say, oh, you're a soprano. I mean, I'm thinking in choir terms, but I think that I'm just like a mezzo soprano that figured out how to belt high.
Wow.
But I feel more at home down there.
That's incredible. And then Diane Warren?
Oh, yeah. Diane Warren is someone that I connected with a long time ago when I was signed, but most recently she reached out once The Greatest Showman came out and just said, what are you doing? Can we meet up? I have some songs for you. So right now we're working on those right now.
That's great.
Yeah.
And do you want to talk a little bit? You have an exciting new project coming out. So do you want to talk about that?
Yes. So I know people know that I sang the demo for Never Enough, but I also sang the demos for multiple other songs from The Greatest Showman. And when I get asked to sing for people. They also request other songs from the movie. So I thought, as a little gift to my fans, I wanted to reimagine those songs in a way that I feel like represents me artistically. And so I worked with this producer, Dan Edinburgh, who's just a legend. And we put kind of like a 70s disco kind of spin on the songs. And it gave me an opportunity to duet with some of my favorite singers.
So you're finally taking ownership of all these songs that you've lent your voice to make them famous, and someone else actually then sang them in the movie, and now they're yours again.
It
which
was
is great.
Quite a journey, and it
That's
just feels
amazing.
like a kind of like homecoming feeling to
That's great.
reimagine these songs. So I hope everyone loves
Yay.
them.
What are some tips for people who want to be like you? Some do's and don'ts. If you want to be a singer, if you want to be on stage, what's like some good advice you could pass on?
I think what I always try to remember is just pay attention to the lyrics, and the right emotion will come out. And try not to make it all about you or showing off too much, because you're kind of getting in the way of the story.
Yeah.
I guess in a practical way, and if we're just
That's
thinking,
like music to the ears of a producer, because that's
yeah.
exactly what I would want you to do. Like feel the words and as if
don't
it's your
just
story.
tune out and overthink,
Yeah.
your riffs and whatnot.
can
But
riff in
think
the
about
third
the
chorus.
story. Yeah.
Or second verse.
From a practical standpoint, I remember, being in voice lessons as a preteen or teenager or whatnot, and feeling like my hands would just get stuck to my sides.
Oy.
And then not knowing at any point what was the right point to bring them up. Do you know what I mean? I think a lot of singers feel this way.
Self-conscious.
Yeah, in auditions, because you want to feel natural, but you're just kind of like, what do I do? And something that changed everything for me is just start with your hands up. So it's not, there's not like this big moment of
So you
pulling
can
your
talk
hands
with your hands.
up. Yeah, just begin with your hands
Like
up.
in Finding Nemo, that pelican who went to the window, and in this aquarium there is a fish. He's looking for his dad.
Yeah, something like that. Just begin with the expression.
Yeah.
And then don't be afraid to take up space. You just open your arms all the way on the high notes.
Yeah, you can do a lot with your arms.
Yes.
That's nice.
Yeah, and also if you feel yourself forgetting the words, don't freak out. Try to calm yourself down, because that's when the words will come. Not in the freak out brain, but in the calm brain.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's so many things.
And so you have both been an artist signed to a record label, and you have also been a studio singer behind the scene. And I think now, are you an independent artist, or are you?
Yes. Yeah.
So can you talk about the evolution of these three and like how it feels different?
Yeah. Oh, that's such a great question. As a signed artist, you're kind of at the mercy of the label, And so that experience was a little bit difficult in the fact that I thought that songs were for sure going to be my singles, and then they were given away, or I thought we had completed an album, and then the years are passing and it's not coming out.
And you're in your best years, like you're ready to shine, you're on stage, and there's all this disappointment and
yes, yeah,
all this waiting and
right, watching the years
crazy.
pass and just knowing, well, my voice is, I think in it, I think when
and you're not really encouraged or allowed to in the meantime put out your demos or share your music publicly or do what you want to do. You're like muzzled in a way.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that in some instances it speeds everything up, and for some artists it slows everything down, and you never know kind of why. But that was kind of the experience for me. Although I learned a lot, I got to work with so many great songwriters. I learned how to write in that process and fell in love with songwriting. But now, as an independent artist, I feel like there's so much to learn. I'm learning how to function as a label by hiring different companies and different people here and there to do what a label would do. And so it's a lot, but I think that also waiting for someone to come save you is also, it's just a waste of time. So
true.
Yeah, I think that when you're an independent artist, you have that freedom, but it's a lot more work, but it's worth it. Because even if I were to sign a deal now, I would be able to say no if it weren't the right deal, because I know that I've been doing it on my own. So it gives you a sense of freedom.
It's so true. Yeah. What do you want people to know about you?
I mean, there's so much. I think people think that I just broke out with, I just started from the song Never Enough. And maybe that was, I was cast to sing the song. But I think knowing my journey goes way back. You know, I was signed as a teenager to now. I think will give people context of how long I've been trying to get my voice out there. I did take a break for my mental health for a while, but now I'm back and ready and just excited to share my artistry with people.
Do you want to talk about that break?
Sure. Yeah. So I was signed to a record label for a while. And while I was signed, I was told that I should go on The Voice. So I competed on The Voice. That experience was difficult for me. I wasn't really in the right headspace to be on a show like that. And so after that, and after, you know, kind of the disappointment of my songs and albums not coming out, I decided that I needed to take a break.
Do you think those two were connected? Like your performance on The Voice and then the album not coming out? Was that kind of a easy game plan for the label to get you publicity?
Oh, yeah. That was absolutely the strategy, which was confusing to me because I thought that people go on shows like that to get a record deal. So I thought, why, if I have a record deal, are we relying on this show?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then even if you do have a record deal while you're on a show like that, it doesn't guarantee anything because I definitely didn't win, not even close. So
did you feel you had a chance to give your best on the show?
Well, it's also difficult because you don't get to choose your songs. I think people don't realize that. So
or your genre, maybe. So you probably have to sing something you would never sing otherwise, right?
Right, exactly.
It's
so
tough.
So you have to do with what you're given.
Yeah. And
sometimes it feels a little too odd to get it right in the competition. Yeah. So after that show, I decided to take a step back, and it was the best thing I ever did because I got to find myself. How was that journey of finding yourself? It was so necessary. I think I hadn't dealt with some mental health issues and emotional things that I was going through. And I also was quite lonely. I didn't have many friends in New York. And so I just got a job at a coffee shop and made friends that are still my friends today, my best friends, and just felt like a sense of normalcy, a sense of autonomy. I didn't feel controlled or held back. And then I started doing the demo work. So I was able to sing for a living to an extent. And so I definitely needed that break. And it made me just a lot more confident and stable enough to then pursue this later. All right. We do a little thing. Let's actually do this. I give you a one-word prompt and you just tell me what comes to your mind. Okay. You don't have to say one word answer. You can elaborate with your answer. Okay. Spirituality. I have found that, leaving a religion made me get back in touch with my intuition, because I feel like sometimes in a religion, it can cloud your inner voice with whatever the doctrine is of that. That's so profound. And especially songwriters and creative people, it all comes from the intuition. Yeah. You have to, whatever suddenly happens, you channel it and you make something. First of all, you trust that inner voice and you listen to it, and that's your guide. Yeah. Yeah. To me, that is the extent of spirituality so far. And I feel like the more in tune you are with that, the more authentically you can live your life and your truth. And so that was going to be my second prompt, authenticity. Oh, wow. Yeah. Joy. I think when you're not living authentically, you can become a very angry person. And I've seen it in friends. and just people that I know closely, that if you feel like you can't live your truth, it manifests in a lot of like pent up anger and sadness. And so just being yourself is freedom, and only surround yourself with people that you can be your authentic self.
Great advice. Self-love?
Time off. I think if you are spreading yourself too thin, you need to be honest with your team and yourself that you need some time off. Mm-hmm. And that's how you love yourself and take care of yourself, is by creating a life of balance.
So important. Happiness?
I mean, I think about my fiance. Mm-hmm. He just makes me feel so safe and so happy. And so that's what comes to mind.
That's your happy place. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Wonderful. I have also some quick fire questions, this or that.
Okay.
Okay. Mountains or oceans?
Mountains.
Hiking or biking?
Biking.
Prince or Michael Jackson?
Michael Jackson.
Movie theater or home theater?
Home theater.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Water or wine?
Wine.
Steak or salad?
Steak.
Mars or Earth?
Right now, Mars.
Really? But you can't breathe on Mars.
Oh, I'll bring something.
Cruise ship vacation or roughing it in a trekking tent exploring vacation?
Roughing it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Same here. Books or movies?
Books.
Stoplights or roundabouts?
Roundabouts.
Yay!
Yeah!
I'm on Team Loren.
It only makes sense.
I hate stoplights.
Yeah, absolutely
They
not.
annoy me, and then at night you're stuck at a stoplight and nothing moves for no reason, and you have to obey the law.
I think you should be allowed to not obey the law.
Exactly, like in Italy. No one obeys the stop signs in Italy.
Italy is reckless.
Yeah.
But they will make you starve because of their times of meals. I unintentionally starved the last time I was in Italy.
Really?
Yeah. Because
I love
want
Italy
to
so
eat
much, though.
lunch at like 2 p.m.
And they're closed.
Yeah. And then it just makes no sense.
But food is so good in Italy.
Very
I love
good.
it. I argue with my wife. She hates Italian food. I think it's the best. It's incredible.
Yeah. No. Absolutely unreal.
It's a little starchy, maybe.
And not every day.
All right. We have one segment called Guess That Song. I'm going to play a melody and you have to guess the song.
Okay.
I get a guitar.
I struggle with recall memory.
We'll find out.
We'll find out. Oh, you're going to play it, actually.
Only a melody.
Okay.
Okay.
Is it a pop song?
Mm-hmm. That was a big song from the past, but it's a brilliant song.
I don't know. My mind goes blank.
Okay, I'll give you one more note.
Okay. I really struggle with my mind going blank. You have to tell me.
The first word is a very brutal word.
Okay. Oh, that's my clue.
Killing. Yeah, killing.
Oh, Killing Me Softly.
There it is. Yes.
Oh my gosh. That was just... I love that song, and I don't know why I didn't.
It's so good. Okay, here's another one. Wait.
Tennessee Whiskey?
Maybe. No, I meant another one. I mean...
Okay. Can you stamp your feet?
Okay. Yeah.
Necessities. The bare necessities?
Yes.
How did I not get Killing Me Softly when I got bare necessities?
The bear.
Wow.
Floating on his back.
Yeah,
with,
yeah.
What's on his tummy?
Of
There's
course.
another. Mowgli's on his tummy, and
Oh, yes.
love that one. Okay, let's see.
I Can't Help Falling in Love with You.
There it is.
Yeah. Okay. I'm
Yes.
getting more
No,
comfortable
you're
with
good.
this.
Okay. Oh, sorry. With the foot stomp?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Now, what is it called?
Take on me.
Oh,
And what
yeah,
does
yeah,
that
yeah.
mean?
Take me on.
Take on me? Take me on? I don't know what they meant. Do you know what they mean?
Maybe it means like, let's fall in love.
Okay.
Okay.
Open for interpretation. Yes, and?
My grandpa had a fish that sang this song.
The fish
You know what
sang
I'm
the
talking
song.
about. Yeah. Well, it was like a fish that like, it was on a plaque and you
Okay.
push a button. But it's
You know-
like, don't worry, be happy.
That's right.
Yes. Oh my
Fish
gosh.
singing, that's funny. As kids, we always used to go in the swimming pool. And with my kids when they were little, I went in the swimming pool and we went underwater and we had to sing a song super loud, and the others had to guess the song, and then we would all come
Of
out of the water
course.
and shout the name first.
Yeah, yeah. So
That's
that
so
that
funny.
was one of the songs.
No, that's like a fish singing.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see. Oh,
Okay,
that's hilarious.
last song.
Somewhere over the rainbow. You gave
You
me
know
a
it.
clue before. Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else you want to say? Anything you would like people to know, or you want to announce something?
Just stay tuned for this next project called The Showman Sessions, and there's so much more original music written by me to come after that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so
you,
much for
Toby.
being my guest.
Thank you for having me.
And if you guys enjoyed this podcast, please like it or subscribe. Or if you give it a review, 5-star review, I'd be very, very happy. And next week, there'll be another one. Bye.
Bye.